Have you ever noticed this strange contradiction? More people today earn what used to be considered a good income, yet very few feel financially secure, not rich, not even comfortable long term, just constantly managing. The question isn't why people earn too little. The quieter, more uncomfortable question is why earning more so often fails to turn into wealth at all. Let's look at a familiar situation. Imagine a young professional in the US or Europe, late 20s, early 30s. They did what they were told, got a degree, found a stable job. Their salary is maybe $70,000 a year, or 55,000 euros. On paper, that sounds solid. After taxes, though, it's closer to $4,000 a month in take-home pay. Rent or mortgage takes $1,500. Car payment and insurance, another $600. Student loan, $300. Groceries, utilities, phone, and internet, $500. Credit card minimums, subscriptions, occasional dining out, $400. Without anything extravagant, we're already at $3,300. That leaves about $700. And that's before holidays, emergencies, weddings, tech upgrades, or the quiet pressure to keep up with colleagues and friends. So the person feels confused. I earn well. I'm responsible. Why does nothing seem to build? Here's the quiet reason middle-class incomes don't turn into wealth. Money is being optimized for lifestyle stability, not for long-term ownership. Most financial decisions aren't designed to grow wealth. They're designed to reduce discomfort today. Take the car. A $35,000 car doesn't feel like $35,000. It feels like $450 a month. But that $450 invested modestly over 30 years could quietly become several $100,000. The same logic applies to housing upgrades, lifestyle subscriptions, financing convenience, and rewarding yourself because you work hard. None of these choices are reckless. That's what makes them dangerous. They're reasonable, socially approved, emotionally justified, and psychologically that matters. The middle class is trained to think in monthly payments, not total cost, in comfort, not control, in short-term relief, not long-term leverage. There's also a deeper psychological layer. Humans adapt quickly. A raise feels life-changing for about 3 months. Then it becomes normal. So when income rises, spending quietly follows. Not dramatically, just enough to absorb the increase. Better apartment, better car, more convenience, less friction. This isn't greed, it's identity management. People don't want to feel poor relative to their peers. They want their lifestyle to reflect their effort. And that's the system flaw. The system rewards visible consumption, not invisible ownership. You get social feedback for what you drive, where you live, how you travel. You get no feedback for what you don't spend. So wealth never has room to form. Now let's look at the long-term effect. If most of your income is locked into fixed lifestyle costs by your early 30s, your future becomes fragile. One job loss, one health issue, one market shift. There's no flexibility, no optionality. Not because you failed, but because the structure of your finances was built around permanence instead of freedom. Financially intelligent people don't think this way. Not because they're smarter, but because they ask a different question. Instead of asking, what monthly payment can I handle? They ask, what future options does this decision remove? They understand that wealth isn't created by extreme discipline or secret strategies. It's created by keeping expenses intentionally below identity level, even when income rises. They're not anti-comfort, they're anti-permanence. They treat raises as invisible. They delay upgrades. They prioritize flexibility over status. And most importantly, they understand this truth. Wealth grows in the space between what you could afford and what you choose to live on. That space is quiet, uncelebrated, and incredibly powerful. There's no drama here, no fear, no shame, just awareness. Because once you see the pattern, you stop asking why money disappears and start seeing where it quietly goes. And when people reach this point of awareness, something interesting happens. They stop blaming individual expenses. It's no longer about coffee or Netflix or the occasional vacation. They realize the real issue is structural, not behavioral. Middle-class finances are usually built like a fixed machine. Income comes in. Almost all of it is immediately assigned to long-term commitments. Rent or mortgage, car payments, insurance, student loans, subscriptions that feel small individually but permanent together. Once those commitments are in place, saving becomes something you try to do, not something the system naturally allows. And this creates a dangerous illusion. From the outside, everything looks fine. Bills are paid. Life feels stable. But stability is not the same as progress. In fact, too much stability too early often slows wealth building down. Here's why. When most of your income is pre-committed, every future decision becomes reactive. You don't choose opportunities, you manage constraints. A better job in another city suddenly feels risky. Taking time off feels impossible. Starting something on the side feels irresponsible. Not because you lack ambition, but because your financial structure has no slack. And slack is where wealth grows. Let's look at the math again. Very simply, say someone earns $4,000 a month after tax. Their fixed lifestyle costs are $3,400. That remaining $600 feels like extra, but it's not really free. It has to cover emergencies, future plans, and unexpected life events. So realistically, maybe $200 to $300 gets saved on a good month. Over a year, that's $3,000. Not bad, but not transformative. Now imagine the same income, but fixed costs are $2,800 instead. That extra $600 difference isn't luxury money, it's option money. It's the difference between reacting to life and shaping it. Over 10 or 20 years, that gap quietly compounds into flexibility, security, and choice. This is why many high earners still feel stuck. Their income grew, but their structure grew with it. And psychologically, that structure feels safe. Humans prefer predictability, even when it limits them. A fixed monthly payment feels comforting. An adjustable future feels uncertain. So people lock in decisions early, believing they're being responsible. But responsibility without margin eventually becomes pressure. This is where comparison quietly plays its role. You don't compare your savings account with others, you compare lifestyles. If your peers upgrade, you feel behind. If you don't upgrade, you feel like you're failing, despite being financially stable. So the middle class ends up performing success rather than building it. Again, this isn't about bad habits. It's about a system that rewards visible comfort and hides long-term cost. Financially intelligent people notice this early. They understand that wealth isn't something you chase aggressively. It's something you allow room for. They don't ask, "Can I afford this now?" They ask, "Does this decision reduce my future flexibility?" They're comfortable living slightly below their means even when they don't have to. Not forever, just long enough for ownership to grow quietly in the background. And this is the part most people miss. Wealth rarely announces itself while it's forming. It looks boring, uneventful. Often, it looks like nothing is happening at all. But beneath the surface, something important is building: financial breathing room. Breathing room changes everything. It turns emergencies into inconveniences. It turns job changes into choices. It turns money from a source of anxiety into a neutral tool. And once you experience that shift, your relationship with money becomes calmer, not more intense. You stop chasing upgrades. You stop tying self-worth to spending. You start seeing money as time, options, and peace. That's the quiet reason middle-class incomes rarely turn into wealth. Not laziness, not lack of intelligence, but a financial structure optimized for comfort today, not ownership tomorrow. Nothing here requires extreme sacrifice, just awareness and patience. And awareness, once it settles in, changes how every future decision feels. If this perspective helped you think more clearly about money and lifestyle, you may want to subscribe.